And these cute little cubs certainly do help to fix that. You wouldn't believe it, but a little crested francolin just landed on the side of the termite mound there. There it goes. Well done, VM. Just in time. And those little cubs prick their ears up. Goes to show how good their hearing and senses are. And even though they were right at the base of a burrow that they could scamper down quickly, they still need to be very, very alert and aware, because the predators out here all have it in for one another, and lion and leopard would certainly pose a threat to these young hyena. And as you can see, the youngest cub hasn't taken any chances and has retreated into the burrow. They actually couldn't see what it was from where they were. They obviously just heard the bird come down and land. And I'm guessing it's not going to be too long before the young cub does poke its head out again and come out and enjoy relaxing in this afternoon sunshine with its cousin. Good news is James has found another spot on quarantine that he would like to show you. So over to him, and we will see you back here shortly.
Hello everybody, welcome back to, well, I'm on foot, aren't I? So I can't welcome you back to Jiga, who is now currently sleeping in the workshop without starter motor. The starter motor is now upon my feet, and we are on foot just about 20 meters from camp. We're right next to where we do the fireside chat, and these wildebeest are being most confiding. Just popping along the clearing. And this is a very big herd for the Sabi Sands. It's not the ideal habitat for them, of course, because it's largely closed, broadleafed woodland. You can see the atmosphere seems to be quite full of smoke and that sort of thing. And what I'm going to do now, I think Scott showed you the wildebeest at the beginning of the drive. What I'm going to do now is show you a picture of the fireside chat. There you can see the mast under which Nikki and Kirsty are sitting. That's the final control. And there you can see the back end of the fireside chat spot. That is my shadow. I'm not actually that tall. That is just the angle of the sun. It's making me look quite vast. And this is where we will see you at our time, 6 o'clock. So whatever that time happens to be, wherever you are in the world. This is the fireside chat spot. I like to sit on that high point there, because I don't look quite so little. And there is the fireplace, whence the flames shall burst later on. And there you can see the camp. Well, one of the camps. That's one of the landowners' camps. We had dinner last night. Last dinner it was. Not a lot is going on this clearing. Lots of birds. I've had a wonderful sighting of a... What did I have a sighting of? A grey-headed sparrow and a little canary, yellow-fronted canary. And you can see this is perfect wildebeest habitat, of course, because it's just nice and clear, and they can see what is going to come and eat them. The Nkahuma Pride are some way from here, but I'll show you the direction in which they are. But they are well away from anywhere near seeing me, or I them. They're basically that direction where I'm pointing. Yes. See, there's definitely been some elephant activity in this area, and you can notice on on-foot safari, of course, is ideal for dung displays, and there is elephant dung. We've had some high dung. I tend to steer clear of dung on game drive, but on walks, well, not treat ourselves a little bit of a dung festival. And show you what's in that dung, if you like. Beautiful afternoon that we're. It's a little bit wobbly, I'm afraid. Not quite as steady as it might be. That's probably also got to the fact that I am, in a way, a cameraman. Now, what I want to do here is have a look at this dung from the perspective of a termite. Now, if you're a termite, and that's what you come across, that's very exciting, of course. I will now show you what the elephants eat. Those are my hands. And there, you have a good idea of what an elephant gets up to eating. Lots and lots and lots and lots of sticks at this time of the year. I'm going to give it a sniff because I think it smells rather good. Delicious. It smells very earthy. I'm not sure if you're able to see me at this stage, but it's got a very earthy sort of, very pleasant, like sort of herbs. And you know, whenever I'm feeling a little bit sad with life, and I'm walking through the bush, and I find a piece of elephant dung, what I do is I break it open, and I just sniff it. It's got a tremendously comforting smell. It's not that good, of course. It does smell slightly more like dung, as opposed to a nice herby, comforting smell that it is when this is the perfect, of course. I've learned to age elephant dung in terms of aroma. This is ideally aged probably about 1 week. So the elephant dung's got. That's enough of that. I think with me lying on my side, you probably lost a bit of sound there. Anyway, that was the elephant dung gushing. The other thing you can see, or maybe you can't, let me see if I can zoom out a bit here, is that about 2 weeks ago, just before I went on leave, the sun was setting over that tree in the middle of there, and now moving steadily out as we head towards. Righty, I think that's enough nonsense from me for the next little while. Let's head to Scott and see what he's doing. He's still with the hyenas, but I'm sure, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. And the two hyenas that we were watching are repositioned onto the other side of the mountain. They led us to another youngster.
He's still with the hyenas, but I'm sure, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. And the two hyenas we were earlier repositioned onto the other side of the mountain. They led us to another youngster. So two of a very similar age, looks like, and then the one smallest one.
Remember, there were two.
And what a great angle this is. They were all piled up on one another. And what's going to happen here is the smallest one going to climb on top. I think it will. Cute. Trying its luck. What a beautiful, beautiful sighting this is. Those tiny little teeth are going to turn into bone-crushing devices. They were little razor-sharp needles, it looked like. But that's going to change in the future. And hopefully a little bit later we will be able to see some of the bone-crushing capabilities of these hyenas' parents. So from gentle nuzzling and nibbling now, we could shortly be witnessing a very, very different spectacle not far from here. It's found a little branch to attack. It looks like it's probably not the first time these twigs have been chewed on, and quite often around a den site. This one's quite new, so they haven't destructed too much of the vegetation, but over time almost every branch around the den has been chewed on. Well, it looks like it's bath time and they're all starting to do some grooming. Look at this. They're all sandwiched in this tiny little area. You can see how dry and dusty it is. The one right at the back that we can't actually see, every time it moves its paws, a cloud of dust gets kicked up in the background. That's a crested francolin you can hear calling out now, possibly the same one that gave them a little fright earlier on, that you got a glimpse of thanks to VM's quick camera work. And this really is a pretty den site that they've inhabited. We're not sure exactly why they didn't go back to one of their two previously used dens. And this is a new one. It's a first time den for this clan that we're aware of. It's not uncommon for hyenas to move den sites, but they usually have 2 or 3 or 4 options that they cycle through. So if they're not at the one, you usually know that they are at the other. But you can see we parked on a bit of a funny angle here. But what is interesting about this scenario is that they haven't gone back to one of their initial den sites that we knew they used. And who knows, maybe they are just looking to expand their clan's territory and therefore beginning to move and shift den sites, possibly also pressure from alternate clans or neighboring clans that could have caused them to move this den, but they haven't moved too far from the other 2 den sites that they do more frequently use, and it'll be interesting to see how much longer they do stay here for. There's no set rule. They can spend anywhere from a month to 3 months at any one den. before moving off. And the reason why they do like to move to different dens is that naturally they get a little bit dirty and infested with parasites. And that's why if they cycle through several of them, it allows them to let Mother Nature clean up after them, and they can come back to a spruced up, fresh home a couple of months later. It possibly may have been inhabited by other animals while they were gone, and interestingly enough will often actually co-inhabit den sites with porcupine and even occasionally warthog, which is hard to believe. They probably do have their own different apartments or burrows within the same mound. But they do sometimes share with some unlikely tenants. Oh, good afternoon, Lady Macbeth. Haven't heard your name before. And thank you very much for your update. Apparently there were some hyenas seen at Coral last night on the waterhole cam, I'm guessing. And Lady Macbeth is interested to know, how far are we away from Coral here? Probably about 3 or 4 miles away, and I'm not too sure if this clan does spread that far, and it could well be another clan's territory. But difficult to say. And what is important for all of us to remember is that hyenas do move huge distances every evening in search of their prey or food to scavenge. And even though it is quite far from here, it could be the same adults from this den that you got to see out in Coral yesterday. The little youngster's starting to get mischievous, and I'm interested to see what its next move will be. Okay, folks, well, it sounds like James may have found some more dung that he would like to smell for you. And we're going to send you across to him. I'm only joking. I'd just like to say goodbye to all of you until the fireside chat. And they are done with the afternoon testing with that walking backpack unit. So over to him, and we will see you shortly.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Quarantine Clearings, where I bet you've never seen guinea fowl at this perspective before. I'm sitting on the ground, lurking next to a termite mound, and these guineas are very kindly just walking gently into this beautiful golden afternoon light, not paying any attention to me whatsoever, and I'm basically at eye height to them, which is quite fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little experiment. Scott is still with the hyenas, so I'm not going to dwell too long here. And I'm going to see you at the fireside chat in just under an hour. We need to go and get ready for that now, Brian and I. And so from quarantine clearings and a little herd of guinea fowl, or flock of guinea fowl, I'm going to hand you back to Scott. Just to prove that it is really me, I'm going to show you my foot. And a beautiful sunset and my size 7 boot. See you just now. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Well, if any of you have yet to see James perform on his guitar, I must suggest that you cancel whatever arrangements you had in an hour's time and make sure that you do tune in to the fireside chat, because he's an incredibly talented artist, and that is something to look forward to a little bit later. Now, we've just got a report of a herd of elephants down at the Djuma waterhole, and we're not far from there. So I think we should probably head off and then view them quickly. I think we may get lucky and watch them having a mud bath. And thereafter, we will head back to the buffalo kill. I have decided that it really is probably our best option to go there and not go back to the Nkuhuma Pride. There are some vehicles there and they are still fast asleep. So let's hope it stays that way and it doesn't turn into a tricky decision as where we should go. But it's not often we get to see an unattended buffalo carcass that is just waiting to provide us with some awesome action if the hyena do in fact go there to feed on it. To squeeze through a tiny little gap there, and we are so fortunate to be in these tiny vehicles that allow us to maneuver through the bush far easier than the regular game viewers, which are much longer. And quite often the guides will send us through the tricky areas following the animals, and they'll loop ahead around on the roads and meet us on the other side. So I think the other guides certainly also enjoy the fact that we're around helping to stay with animals in the tricky scenarios. The breeze has died down and it's a dead still evening. You'll notice none of the leaves in the bushes are moving. Absolutely dead still. These are the leaves of a magic guarri tree, and what these branches can be used for by local people are several things. A fly swat can be quite good, but what I would like to show you is how to make a toothbrush. If you ever get stranded out here, or you arrive on safari and your luggage doesn't make it through the airport, at least you'll know where to find a toothbrush. And what you need to do is peel the bark off, which you can do relatively easy, even with your fingernails. And then once you've done that, I'll just let VM zoom in to give you a closer look of exactly what I've done here. So I've just taken off the bark on this top section, and then what you need to do next is, is chew on the piece of bark like this. Preferably using your molars. And then what that does is it creates almost little fine individual bristles. And then you brush away. Clean teeth, ready to go. There's a few little branches stuck in between them. And the great thing is once you finish